my name is Chris. I'm sure you guys probably know who I am.
Why would we know who you are?
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know who's B, it's your girl KylerB coming at you with a new video. So today we're going to be talking about Love Island Games. Love Island Games is back for season 2. It's been a year and a half wait, basically 2 years between the first season and now season 2. We have a brand new season, we have brand new contestants, and a lot of more twists and turns. So the show episode starts the season premiere. We have a 2-hour season premiere, okay? You had to be locked in because season premieres, first 2 people to enter the villa was KK from season 5. As you know, KK was coupled up with Keenan. That whole situation, she left with Keenan when Keenan got, dumped from the villa, Then we had Andreina from season 6 when she was coupled up with Rob. She got dumped from the villa. Rob had a whole fit. Everything about that dumping, basically he's like a whole meme because of that whole dumping. So after both KK and Andrea came into the villa, Andreina comes in solo. She's in the villa, she's talking. She basically said that when she left the villa, there was people who were in her DMs from past seasons of Love Island, like Tyrique, like Johnny, like they were in her DMs. So lo and behold, we have Tyrique and Lucinda coming from a plane, touched down to the Fiji villa, coming into the villa. As soon as, Andreina was talking about it with the girls, they come into the villa. She was very much like shocked. It was basically giving, just a tad of, Shalace Nachos, just a tad. Because obviously they knew each other or knew of each other through social media, and then obviously them coming into the villa at the same time to find love and especially win the money together, because this is a Love Island Games. Like, you got to be real strategic here. The Big Brother and the original Love Island just collabing into one contestant competition show. So, obviously they not catched up, but like talked a little bit, obviously, he's feeling her, she's feeling him. They see each other in person for the first time, So, we got that little interaction right after, Lucinda and Tyrique comes into the villa. It was, we have Mert from the Netherlands. We have Nicola from, Love Island Malta, and then we have Garbi from Love Island Germany. Then we have Isaiah. He shows up to the villa, basically says like, he was with Sydney at the time. Him and Sydney broke up. Basically, I don't know what type of timing he's on, but he's back in the villa. So then we have Chris and Josh showing up. Josh is from season 3. This is like the first time we have any type of season 3 contestant showing up back into the villa. So he talks about his time with Shannon, because obviously his time in the villa, like, a family emergency, a family situation happened while he was in the villa, and it was like, it was very sad and sudden that he actually left with Shannon at the time, and I guess him and Shannon were together during those times. So he does talk about that relationship, and obviously didn't go well, so that's why he's back. And he's here for the money, and if love comes into play, And then we have Chris from season 7. So Chris is like, oh yeah, people like talk about him for not picking up Huda, and he was just like, well, if Huda's not his girl anymore, he shouldn't be obligated to pick her up. So he's just trying to like, change the narrative on his like character, I guess. But he comes in the villa and he's like, oh, everybody should know me, But I'm like, dude, you have a little too much dip on your chip. Like, you need to chill out, like, calm down, Mr. Overseas. So, like, everybody was just like, should we know you? KK was just like, I saw you come off that helicopter, so I know you come from overseas. So, like, it was very crazy. So, after that, it was basically, that was the contestants. So, we have 6 guys, 6 girls entering the villa. At the same time, they're talking to each other. So the girls had a little chat, basically trying to figure out like who do they like. So, you know, Andreina was basically saying like, you know, she can tell who likes who. Andreina was very much on Tyrique. Like, that's the only person that she's really looking at right now. She's not really looking at anybody else too much, really and truly. KK, she's looking at Chris, but she's also looking at Tyrique. We have, you know, Garbi, she's looking at Kendall. You know, we have Andrea looking at Josh. Nicola. We have Nicola looking at Isaiah. So at the guy side, all the guys basically said the top three was Andrea, and KK. Like, that's basically the names you heard all around. Andrea, KK. Andrea, KK. That was Tyrique's top three, Isaiah's top three, you know, even Josh's top three. Like, the same names over and over again. So that was basically the top three for the guys for the most part. Then, you know, Chris switched it up and he basically said like, oh, Nicola was basically like a little bit different, something a little different, but he's also looking at KK too. So he's just like, you know, he had his eye on Nicola and then, you know, KK. So we first get into our first challenge. You basically have to, you know, go through a challenge, rescue a guy, go through all these different obstacles. In the first challenge, it was Andreina and, you know, Lucinda, and, you know, it was just like, you know, the girls went first, you know, saved their guys. The guys went next, and then, you know, saved their girls. I think, you know, Garbi, she basically, you know, did her big one because she dusted all the girls and the guys. You know, she picked Kendall to save. You know, her and Kendall had a kiss that was like, okay, all right. Andreina, she saved Ty. Lucinda saved Mert. Nicola saved Isaiah. Who else? Andrea saved Andrea saved Josh. And you know, KK saved Chris. So with the guys, I think the only person who didn't save the person who saved them was, you know, Tyrique. Tyrique did not save Andreina. It was Isaiah who saved Andreina. So Tyrique, he picked KK, which, I mean, we can see like, okay, well, if Andreina went first and picked you, you know, you picking KK, like, okay, all right. So at the end of the challenge, you know, Ariana's back. She basically tells the contestants, you know, like, who was the fastest time, who went first. Basically, Garbi, for the girls, she dusted everybody. She, you know, stands on the heart. She gets the first choice of who she wants to couple up and who she wants to pick out of everybody there. Then we had Chris for the guys. He had the fastest time, so he gets to pick first. So you had either a choice of coupling up together or coupling up with somebody else. They both chose to couple up with other people. But then Chris, once again, he was trying to be too slick. Like, he said, like, oh, yeah, like, and Ariana was like, you know, why wouldn't you couple up with the fastest person? So he was like, yeah, you're physical, but are you mentally there? So he was trying to, like, pass his place with Garbi, and Garbi's like, you don't even know me to say, like, if you have it all there mental. So, I mean, he was trying to be slick, and it wasn't, like, eating at all. So they didn't decide not to couple up with each other. Garbi decided to couple up with Kendall. So, because obviously when Kendall picked her for his time to save Garbi in the challenge, they had like a very passionate kiss where, you know, Ariana had to blow her whistle and was like, yeah, that's enough. So Chris decides to couple up with KK. Yeah, so the next two people were Tyrique and Andrea. So they, once again, decided not to couple up with each other. Tyrique decides to couple up with Andreina, and Andrea decides to couple up with Josh. So the next people were, you know, Nicola, who decides to couple up with Isaiah, you know, Mert, who decides to couple up with Lucinda. So, you know, basically everybody's coupled up, everyone's in a couple, so they're just like, you know, getting to know each other in couples. You got Garbi and Kendall, they're chatting it up, you know, she's like, she's ambitious, You know, she's here to win the game. Like, she's focused. She's focused on the prize. Now, she says, now, if love comes her way, you know, she's going to have fun, too, with that. But she is focused. She's determined. Like, Garbi is in it to win it.
They in sync. It's crazy. Like, we gotta be like Ken and Garbi.
Exactly, Ken and Garbi.
Oh, yeah.
Ken and Garbi, yes, I like that.
I am feeling...
Kendall, he likes that, too. I mean, they seem like a cool couple. We would just have to see more. We just have to see more to, you know, decipher if this is a good couple or not. But they seem pretty cool, right? In this first episode, we have Tyrique and Andreina. They're talking, chatting it up. Andreina, she was 5th place in that challenge out of 6 girls. And it was just like, okay, well, they were talking about they had to work on that because, you know, you can't be no last place or second to last place in these challenges because that is not good, especially if you're going to be coupled up together. So they're talking about that, you know, a little flirting, You know, we have Josh and Andrea. You know, obviously you can tell what Josh's type would have been. Like, easy peasy. He was definitely going to pick up Blonde. He was definitely going to pick up Andrea. He really likes Andrea. So, yeah, we got that out of the, you know, the woodwork. Isaiah, I mean, he, you know, I don't think he's seeing any type of love interest with Nicola. He just knows that Nicola is basically a little scrappy. She knows how to, like, navigate and probably be the underdog to win this, to be honest. So he's okay with her being in a couple of him and everything, but I don't think Isaiah is really looking at Nicola like that in terms of, you know, love. He just knows that, you know, she came in, I believe, 3rd place for the challenge of the day. So, you know, he's just like, yeah, she can be scrappy, like, she can get it out the mud. Like, you know, he's just happy with that. So they're just talking and, you know, he realized, like, she's a pretty cool girl. So you have KK and Chris, they're chatting it up, you know. Seems like KK really liked Chris. We'll see how that goes. You know, Chris decided to give the contestant, you know, basically everybody, like, little housework because he was just basically there last season. So, you know, showing them the speakeasy and all that and everything. Who else is coupled up? Mert and Lucinda, you know, they're chatting it up. You know, Mert basically saying, like, he's speechless about Lucinda. So, I mean, he liked his couple. You know, there we go. So, while everybody's talking, they're in their little night evening wear. Ariana comes back. You know, Ariana, what are you doing here? She basically has the, you know, couples, contestants, you know, stand on these hearts. It's basically the same setup as last season's Casa Amor recoupling. You basically stand on all these hearts in couples or, you know, basically, and there's like a big heart in the middle. So she basically says that there's going to be a new twist. 2 heartbreakers or basically bombshells enter the villa, which are Charlie from last season and Celine from Love Island France. So they're heartbreakers. So basically their goal is, you know, they get to kiss anybody that they want. And then at the end of that, they have to decide who they want to couple up with. And then if they're taking your couple or the person from your couple, you get the heartbreaker chain because you're no longer in a couple, you're single and you're vulnerable. So Celine goes first and she walks around slowly, you know, basically do these fake takes, but she basically kissed all the guys. She basically kissed every guy that was there. And it was just like, okay, yeah, everybody watching you kiss their guy, whoever, like, they just watching. So, kiss whoever, there. Charlie goes next. And, you know, he does basically the same thing. His kiss with Andreina now, I was like, oh, he basically walked up to Andreina and basically said, oh, we could have had this last season. Mind you, could they really? Because he was so focused on Hannah, and he got dumped basically the next day. Hannah was in the villa, or I mean, Andreina was in the villa. So I'm almost like, Are we sure? Because he was caught up with Hannah. So he's talking about, oh, we could have had this in the villa. Like, are you sure? But, you know, he was, you know, Andreina's in a couple of Tyrique. So Tyrique is talking about he feeling some type of way. He feel a bit jealous. So he kissing Andreina, he kissed everybody. Yeah. So then next thing you know, Andreina walks around, trying to make her decision of who she wants to couple up with. And she walks around. Mert, he like looking up and down. Like he not looking at her at all. So she looks at Mert, or she talks to Mert and says like, you know, why can't you look at me in my eye? Walks around, goes back to Mert and like, you know, kisses him. And it was a real kiss. Lucinda's standing there watching. Before they even made their decisions, Ariana was like, you can ask me who, you know, won the challenge today, or who was in first place of the challenge, or who was in last place. So Celine asked who was in first place, which was Chris. And then, you know, Charlie asked who was in last place to, like, I guess switch it up, which was Lucinda. So she picks Mert, kisses him. I don't even think he was that into it at all. But she still kissed him, picked him, put the chain on Lucinda. Lucinda's like, it's not my day, because it's like I'm in last place and now you're taking that guy. Like, it really wasn't her day. So then next thing you know, Charlie goes around, you know, he had a good kiss with Garbi, he had a good kiss with Andreina. So everybody was thinking like, oh, it's either Garbi and Andreina. Nah, he picks Andreina. So he put the chain on Josh's neck. Josh is now single and vulnerable. So, but that's not it. Because they said they have 48 hours to either change what's going on. So they can put the chain on somebody else's neck, okay? So we see the preview for tomorrow's night. And the preview for tomorrow's night is basically, you know, they have a chance to take the necklace off and give it to somebody else. So they're going to bring back the duel. And basically, if they decide to duel somebody or duel whoever, you know, Lucinda decides to duel one of the girls, and she wins the duel against one of the girls, she gets to put the chain on somebody else's neck, which makes them vulnerable to be dumped from the villa. They upped the ante. Instead of 100K, they said, let me add 150 more on that cash prize, okay? Let me add 150 more, okay? It's only a 3-week show. You're not even going to be in that villa long. They said, let me add 150K on that regular 100,000K. So now the prize pot is really 250. So 250 for 3 weeks in the villa. I mean, granted, we gonna be battling out and doing these games, but 3 weeks in the villa for a chance to win 250 and, you know, either be on strategicness or love, like, hello? Or you can get a 2-for-1 special, like, hello? Like, they got the big money. They said the checks cleared from season 6 and season 7. They said the checks cleared. Let me add 150K on the prize pot. So that's crazy that they said 250. So they're going to be winning, trying to get that 250. I mean, Garbi, she in it to win it. But there's people who are strategic in this villa. So we'll see how that goes in tomorrow's episode. Anyway, guys, if you guys like the video, comment down below, let me know your thoughts, comments, concerns. You can subscribe to my channel, subscribe, anything you guys watching this video. Peace.